Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 2024, you are sitting at the edge of the rest of your lives. Each of you has the potential to leave a legacy that transcends yourselves and this era of human existence. In the small ways, by living out your vocation, you will ensure that God's church continues and the world is enlightened by your example. For the ladies present today, congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives. I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
Welcome everyone, it's Talks with Ken here today. We're going to give my analysis on the whole Harrison Butker speech situation. Hopefully I fixed my audio because I've been messing with this thing all of yesterday, and I hopefully the sound quality is good enough that it doesn't tune a lot of you guys out. But back to my commentary. The idea that this is not a first topic I touched on. I touched on feminism on numerous occasions, and I literally believe that feminists don't believe in the right for a woman's choice. Like, they don't believe in women's choice. They give lip service to it, but they don't really believe it. Because whenever someone argues for the alternative, feminists get very defensive. I don't understand why. Why, feminists, do you get so defensive when people tell you, hey, maybe your career is not the most important thing about you, right? Maybe there's things that you are valued outside of how much money you can bring or what your title is. As someone myself, like, end of the day, I relate to Harrison Butker's situation because I do have a stay-at-home wife. And I have dealt with this feminist, granted, maybe it comes from a place of, hey, they're concerned for my wife's position, or maybe because, feminists make up all these terms for them to continue being victims, financial abuse. Like, how is it financial abuse? At any moment, my wife can be like, I don't want to be here anymore, and she'll be entitled to half my stuff. So this idea of that, oh, women are being financially abused, I don't see it. What I do see, though, is that they are very scared of men, right? Like, feminists' whole ideology is based on do not trusting men. Day and night, women on TikTok, women on social media constantly bash men, say men are trash, men are garbage, men shouldn't exist, we should kill all men. But God forbid an NFL player who is Catholic, who leans into his faith, proclaims that, hey, women, maybe the greatest thing about you is not your accomplishments, but your role as a mother and a homemaker. And a lot of women took this as if he was telling them, you should be a homemaker, you should be this, you should be that. When all he was really doing is, hey, no matter what capacity you're working on. It's the same speech that a CEO would give. Oh, if someone doesn't respect the janitor, I know that they wouldn't respect me, because every role, every job is important. And feminists have this habit of shaming people that do not follow along with their path for life. And I believe Harrison Butker is allowed to advocate for his lifestyle. Granted, the current lifestyle that is supposed to, because here's a caveat, and then I'll go into this clip that explains further on to women's depression and all the stress that they're dealing with. Feminism isn't just a one size fit all. It's so perfect. Women need to understand trade-offs. If Harrison Butker went up there and said, oh, I'm proud of my mom that's degreed up, researched all this stuff, and women should be just like her, he would get no pushback. If he had said that career is a very important thing, even more important than the family, he would have gotten no pushback from these same left-wing hacks online. But all of a sudden, he advocates for the alternative, the contrarian view. And they're trying to demonize him. There's petitions to try to get him fired from his job. This is why I don't believe in censorship. Contrarian views should be allowed to be expressed, so everyone has both sides of the angle. So women have all the information in front of our face. Hey, this is William Butner's position, and then I'll go into the next clip. What is harder to find? A good husband or a good job? I'll wait. Both are hard to find, but I think a good husband is harder to find than a good job. Because a good job, you have more control over those outcomes than you do necessarily finding a good partner. And most Christians will believe, and most I think is the more logical thing to do. Hey, women, you between 0 to 35 is your most fertile years. This is where you'll be able to easily have a family without going to IVF treatment. This is least expensive for you to have a family. If you find your partner between not 0 to 15, but 18 to like 35, you got a good what? 18, 17 years to find a partner? Because at the end of the day, the career is always going to be there. Like your job is always going to be there. College ain't going nowhere. So why not put that in the back burner? Or what most smart people do, they date seriously in college, because then you have a better outlook or circumstances to see who is a suitable mate. And that used to be the norm in our society. Nowadays, you have a lot of these women graduating without a partner. And then they're surprised to find out that when they start working, it becomes even harder to actually date outside of work, because work takes so much of your time. And as a man with a stay-at-home wife, I believe my wife is somewhat happy, and my wife willingly chose that. Like feminists are all about consent until the woman consents to the wrong things. And it's in feminist doctrine from the origins of feminism that feminists argue that women should not even have the choice to stay at home. The choice to stay at home should be taken away from women. And that is the core philosophy that's fueling all this outrage against Harrison Butker's speech. He gave thanks to his wife. He's grateful to his wife. He respects his wife. He honors his wife. He appreciates the roles that his wife has in his household. And for that, because he's congratulating his wife, praising his wife as homemaker being the most important profession, all of a sudden all these feminists, all these career women apparently online who happen to be liberal are assaulted. They're putting words in his mouth. Oh, William Butner thought my life, it doesn't matter how much I accomplish. It doesn't matter if I'm a CEO, VP of this. My wife starts when I become a wife. When you die, what are they going to know you by? They're not going to know you only by your trade. They're going to know, hey, how you affected your society, your community. Have anyone of y'all been in a funeral lately? No one talks about my career. Oh, my dad was such a great man. All this. No, they're going to tell about the times that they spent with you, the impact that you had on their life. That's the importance of funerals, because funerals show you what people really care about when you're gone. Your career takes a sidebar in your funeral. That's how I think about it anyway. But I think I've been rambling on too much. So on this next clip, you're going to see
Harrison Butker's speech touched on various topics, including traditional gender roles and family values, often framing them within the context of his Catholic faith. His assertion that women's fulfillment lies in marriage and motherhood, while controversial, raises questions about the intersection of religion and societal norms. Recent studies have indeed shown a concerning trend. As more women have entered the labor force over the past decades, rates of happiness, stress, and depression among women have seen notable shifts. According to research, women report higher levels of stress and unhappiness compared to previous generations, despite increased opportunities in the workforce. This raises important questions about the impact of societal changes on women's overall well-being.
So as you can see, which group of people will be more like, I'll say, which group of people are more likely to essentially be happy, right? Is it conservative women who are less likely to be feminists, or liberal women who are more likely to be feminists? Because at the end of the day, this is a critique against feminism. And I think this is why feminists are so triggered. Because instead of articulating, hey, this is the advantage of being career women, every data point suggests that women are less happy than they've ever been before, even though they have more opportunities. Hell, you'll say even incentives to go down the path of feminism. You see it all the time. I think I did a video earlier in this channel of Brett Cooper covering how Gen Z women are mad that they had to work 9-to-5 jobs. Gen Z women are angry that they feel like they don't have time to do anything else. And this is what I've been trying to say, and this is really what conservative men are saying to women in general is, hey, women, you got to make a trade-off. Like, you think men go to like I'm thinking for myself. My job is merely a means to an end to provide for my family, right? Because I think even when I was young, I always wanted to be a father, but I knew a aspect of fatherhood is, hey, you have to provide for your children and your wife, right? I'm thankful I'm in a position that I could make my wife a stay-at-home wife, right? But feminists, I think the reason why feminists hate contrarian views is that it points out some of the negative aspects of that choice. And I believe that you can't be goading women into going down a certain path without giving them all the information up front. And if I have a daughter, this is some of the stuff I will tell her. I will tell her, hey, look, as a woman, you have to make your choices very early in life. Because at 18, the world's at your feet. And you have to be very disciplined in how you go about your world. Because I believe, honestly, one thing I'll say women are more affected by is temptation. There's a lot of temptations for women to be hoes, right? Go around sleeping around, because the feet's almost at your, like when you're an 18-year-old girl, the world's your oyster at this point. You go on social media, you get free attention, especially if you're not that bad looking. You get a lot of opportunities. But that's where I'll stress discipline the most on women. This is why I believe it does not serve women to infantilize them, to treat them like children. Because then when they get into these situations, you got TikToks of women complaining about hookup culture and how they feel like they're feeling used, or they feel dread when a dude texts them saying, hey, I'm coming over, and they know it's about to go down, if you know what I'm saying. They feel like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. But they sit here and pretend that, oh my God, I'm sexually liberated. They praise it as some good thing to happen. But God forbid Harrison Butker speaks out against it or give a contrarian view of how you should approach your life. And this is why I think this is why feminist culture continues to thrive in our education system, because that's all these people want you to know. Because they know, hey, unhappy people tend to vote left. I'm just saying. Look. I'm just saying. Here's some of the results of conservative parenting, and this is some of the benefits if we do go down this path, or we follow a path that's similar to what Harrison Butker is saying. Children of conservative parents are at lower risk of mental health. Studies found that just 55% of adolescents with liberal guardians reported good or excellent mental health, compared to 77% of those from right-wing households. So right-wing households tend to be what? More conservative, more closer to Catholic faith prescription for the family dynamic. You're more likely to have a stay-at-home mom in that situation. You're more likely to have homeschooled kids in that situation. And then they end up growing as well-adjusted adults compared to liberals, because liberals are more likely to expose their kids to maybe transgenderism, gender confusion. Hell, in Peru, they designated transgenderism as a mental illness. And this is not by accident. I believe, honestly, I say this stat all the time on this channel. Liberal professors outnumber conservatives 12-1. Study shows. In some cases, 16-1. Why? Right? Women, did you come to feminism on your own, or was it conditioned into you? Right? Just like black people are conditioned to look for racism, perceive that the biggest setback in their life is racism. Isn't this the same scenario playing out with feminism? This is why I hate the identity politics. My final point, and then we'll get back into some of the videos. Why are liberals less happy than conservatives? Here's the stats. I showed the stats before. Liberals are less happy with their lives, but women are the liberal women is the least happiest individual amongst the group of liberal men, conservative women. Happy with their life, right? Oops, close this. Less satisfied with their mental health. Liberal women at the bottom again. Conservative men and women are about the same, and liberal men is more than the liberal woman, but he's still less than the conservative woman. Less satisfied with your mental health, right? Who's more likely to be a feminist, a liberal woman or conservative women? Liberals are less happy with their family life. Look at the conservative women, 61% compared to the liberal women's 36%. Sorry, conservative women, 61%, and the liberal women, 36%. Look at that. Almost double what the liberal women have. But what William Buckner is saying is dehumanizing, according to some articles like the Daily Beast. 100K society position demands a chief fire kicker over dehumanizing commencement speech. How is saying that, and we all saw a speech, how is saying that one of the most important jobs you'll have in your life is being a mother / parent? Like, make it make sense. Oh, and then they try to use the point of, oh, your mom was very successful. She was highly educated. Hell, maybe she's the reason why he decided to become Catholic. Maybe he's the reason why he said, hey, I don't want this in my life. Because there's studies, I showed this before on my channel, that a lot of wealthy men, a lot of successful men that these same career women will want, but they say, oh, these guys don't date us. They date younger chicks. They don't like women on their level. 77% of them date stay-at-home moms. They're married to stay-at-home moms. The top 1% of us our society. The wealthiest of our society, majority of them are married to stay-at-home moms. But these career women bust their butt, do all this stuff for what? They're looking for the validation of other women. It's the same thing with the bear and the man scenario. Women say bear because they know that's the popular thing to say. And I think this is the social pressure that we're not really speaking about feminism. That feminism is not actually good for women, for most women. It's an alternative viewpoint from what is the norm for most women, what the most women want. I bet you most women are more comfortable talking about their career goals than their family goals. If you ask if a woman ever comes out and say, hey, I'm from the jump, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, she'll get demonized. She'll get pressure to change her mind. People will push her to focus on her career. No one wants to talk about that social engineering. That's honestly what I mean. This is social engineering. Using language like this to make a commencement speech where a man is thanking his wife as dehumanizing, when you could say that, damn, he's very grateful for the sacrifices that his wife made. No, let's label it dehumanizing, especially if you need to watch the speech. Harrison Butker is right, according to this woman here. Here's a comment from Charlie Kirk. Hey, he went to a Catholic college, delivered a speech to Catholic graduates affirming Catholic doctrine. Like, imagine, let's switch it. Let's say he was an atheist. He went to an atheist college, delivering to an atheist graduates, affirming atheist doctrine. No one would be mad. And I'm starting to believe that the left has a natural, like, anti-religious slant to it, to the point that it's borderline a bias. Actually, it is a bias. Right? And let's talk to the elephant in the room, right? Here's the biggest, because my thing is, I believe the black community has soaked up a lot of the liberal prescriptions, the liberal purview on a lot of these topics. I want to take an example about how feminism don't actually lead to good outcomes for the most part, right? Goldman Sachs. Now, you know, Goldman Sachs had a commitment of $10 billion towards the success of black women. Now, this is why I always, like, when black women wake up their accomplishments, I tend to be like, oh yeah, well, you got way more opportunities than I do. You got billion dollar, $1 trillion companies behind y'all, incentivizing you guys to go down this path, right? Because in my view, I believe that I think the black community, black women, are the most feminist women in the country. I honestly believe that. Look at all the incentives. Where is this for men? There's nothing like this for men. So these women are getting a boost to essentially go down this path because it benefits the corporations. Hey, we want more women in positions of leadership, right? We want to eliminate racial bias, but why has it have to be about black women? Why couldn't it just be black? And this is one of the reasons why I say black men don't really have any benefit. They don't gain any benefits from democratic policies. The affirmative action benefits black women. Look at it. Look at the investment. $10 billion. Right? Black women, the most educated sex in our community, yet their net worth is $5. Their spending is out of control. Like, look, end of the day, consumer spending is reliant on women. So it's incentivized. The companies are kind of incentivized to have women have higher incomes because that's mean more money that they will be able to spend. Women are foundational to their families, communities, and the U.S. economy, yet they face immense challenges such as being under-resourced, underpaid, and underfunded. 3 things I believe that's the community's fault. Like I said, black community don't invest in their own education. They expect other people, other groups of people, other races of people to invest more in their own education for their own uplifting than them themselves. Make it make sense. This is the helplessness that I'm talking about. And policies like this only incentivize them to be more. They want to be breadwinners, essential workers, caregiver mothers. Look at it, entrepreneurs. These are only one aspect of who you are, but there's an incentive. Black womanomics. Investing in the underinvested. Women are less likely to know about investment techniques or whatever. I didn't know all this. I'm a college dropout. I taught myself this. I have books about economics right behind me. Thomas Sowell, 401k, Roth IRAs. What's the difference between a traditional IRA, a traditional 401k and a Roth 401k? Many women don't know what this is because they don't seek the information. And because they made a personal choice and they're suffering the consequences of their ignorance, of their financial ignorance, now it's on society to come in and save them. This is what happens when you don't believe in self-determination. This is what I mean when they say we treat women like children. Oh, they don't understand. Let's put the information in front of them. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that's kind of mostly the position that I take. Is that I can only show you where the water is. It's up to you whether you drink it or not. AKA receive the information or not. Black women brag about how they're the most educated group. Because remember, my argument, the reason I'm targeting black women in this video is because they're the most feminist as well. And they are the template in which they want all women to follow. They want every woman to be just like the black woman right now. This is why they invest so much in the black woman. Right? Black woman gets grants, right? Building a more inclusive culture. All I see is black women. I don't know how this is inclusive, right? Amplifying black women, the voices of black women. Where's this specifically for men? And this is kind of the problem I have with identity politics is that you focus so much on the black women, but black men are the ones that need more help in the black community. If we're going big, because if we saw a stat where we saw black men are the most educated in the black community, this stuff would make sense, right? Now we're flipping it. The reality is black men are not really going to college like that, right? Black women complain about how they can't find suitable partners of equal education and outcome as them. But what does this stuff do? It further incentivizes that gap between black women and black men because there's no specific program for black men like this. So hyper focus specifically on them. But black women have it. And if there is a program that caters to men, it also caters to women too. So if I buy into this helplessness narrative that the black community can't do nothing for itself, the black man will always going to be behind. And the black woman will always complain about her having to settle down, compromise, not being able to meet her equal, struggling dating because she can't find suitable partners when the companies themselves are pushing that incompatibility, pushing that education gap, achievement gap, financial gap. But they don't see it. They just like, oh my God, I like all this opportunity, all this attention I'm getting, all these resources I'm getting that's only catered to me. And then I sit around and I bash the black man because he has to do all this underserved, underinvested, right? Under-resourced. I mean, there's resources out there for black people, but I'm just saying there's this hyper focus on black women where that's an advantage in itself. If I had to share resources with black women on a program, but black women only get a resource from a program, advantage black woman. This is why all these DEI offices have a lot of black women in it. And this is what I'm trying to say is like, yo, like this goes against the family formation, right? Because it doesn't matter how successful your single mom is, you still fall to the ills of the single mother statistics because your mom is what? Not around. Single moms, the reason why they have such bad outcomes with their children is their children are raised by the streets, raised by their culture, raised by things outside of what the mom wants for that child. if your kid don't have a good head on his shoulders, he can easily get into bad stuff, and you're limited to stop him because you don't spend enough time with your kids because you got to go out and work and provide for your kids. I know this personally because I was raised by a single mom in a co-parenting situation, but still, I was raised by a single mom. And I had I saw it. I had my good head on my shoulders. I had a lot of opportunities to get myself into a lot of trouble, but I chose to do the right thing, right? Not cause problems for my mom, but not a lot of kids in my similar situation make those similar choices. And that's why I say that behavior decides your outcomes more than your skin color, more than your gender. And I'll leave it at there. Let me know your thoughts about the Harrison Butker speech. What are your thoughts about it? Do you agree with his sentiments? Do you see his point? Do you believe he has a right to speak out against the common prescriptions that they're being told to women? Because literally, I believe women are being deceived. Look, women have to submit to something. That's the reality. I think we all do, right? Because at the end of the day, no one talks about how men submit to other men. Like men, you go to a job, you have to listen to your boss. Women are literally doing the same thing. The only difference is if a homemaker decides to divorce her husband, she's entitled to half of all the wealth that was created in that household, while a woman who spent 25 years at a company is just another number. And when she gets kicked to the curb, she gets maybe at best a severance package for a couple months, and they go bye-bye. You're not entitled to half the wealth that you helped created, right? And this is the trade-off, because feminists always complain about, oh, what if your husband leave you? What if your job fires you? Like, come on. And in the day, when you make a choice, you accept that there's risk. And this is my problem. Like, why our society, we have treated women like children to the point where now they're starting to act like one. And I just be like, yo, let's treat them, because in the day, we inadvertently, and I swear I'm gonna end the video off of this. We inadvertently give men an advantage because we treat men like adults. When men do something, no, we hold you accountable, bro. We don't make no excuses. We don't make any, oh, woe is him. We don't make none of that. And men learn quickly how to operate in reality, how to operate in an environment where it's not catered to them. It seems like we're conditioning women to only know how to operate in spaces or in a way where stuff benefits them, stuff is catered to them, to the point where now this is why there's a stigma that women are not as competent as men in leadership positions. You see a lot of women failing in these leadership positions, and how women can't even face criticism. Women can't even face that someone's advocating an opposite view to what they think society should go, where they think they should do. And this is a problem in our society, I believe. But I digress. I'm swear I'm done on this topic. I would like to hear your thoughts about the whole Harrison Butker situation. What do you think? I'd like to hear it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.